Welcome to another video update of what kind of miniatures I have on my desk at the moment. As of course is probably natural, I don't think many of these were actually in the last video, so it's not a rolling update on literally everything from video to video. It's just a case of what I've managed to get done in the intervening period. And as you can see, there's a lot of tiny World War II figures. So these are all Adler Miniatures 6mm figures from a bit of a stockpile of different World War II figures that I got from Leon before he elected to give the range to Heroics and Ross and enjoy some much deserved retirement. And this week I've managed to speedily get through 3 new platoons for my collection. So going from right to left, I think we'll do first. So here we've got some Waffen-SS Panzer Grenadiers, so 3 sections thereof. They have got a little bit of an impression of the camouflage painted on them. Doesn't really come off very well in this light necessarily, but it is there and it'll show up better when they've been based, to be fair. And you've got a little platoon HQ at the front and then 3 sections. I do tend to try and base them as well so that they're roughly speaking in their little fire teams or like their machine gun groups of Panzer Grenadiers here, because they've got 2 MG42s within the section and 9-man sections at that. And I think the odd one's got a Panzerfaust in there as well, which is just for a bit of variation, to be honest. The rest, they're originally intended for a sort of mid-war 1943, but maybe this is much later 1943 now, early 44. That's just a chance to throw some of the miniatures on the base. Then next to them, a slightly bigger base is here because they're 10-man squads, and this is a platoon of German regular infantry or grenadiers to join the other platoon I have. Again, I went for a bit more variation, so there's a Panzerfaust knocking around in each of the squads. They have roughly again been split into the rifle group and the gun group, although one of them doesn't have a deployed machine gun team. The machine gun team's advancing as well, again just for a bit of variation in painting. And also I put a few helmet covers in this time as well that start to creep in as the war goes on, certainly around by 1943, because a lot of my collection's got sort of Kursk on era in mind. And then for the purposes maybe of later on at the front, a couple of Panzerschreck teams as well, to maybe bolster that or the other platoon. And so you've got 2 new German platoons there. And then on the end, again, sorry, slightly hard to make out maybe in this light, but this is another platoon of Soviet rifle infantry. And they too have managed to acquire a few Panzerfausts there from captured stocks as the war goes on. Their platoon HQ at the front. And they're quite speedy to get through, particularly the Soviets. Not a very complicated colour scheme. I don't tend to put too many details on there, but a few little sort of pops of colour does help break them up. So for example, an impression of the collar markings on the German infantry, so little white dots basically, and other bits and pieces just helps, and maybe the little sort of red shoulder boards on the Soviet officer at the front down here. At the back you can see what's coming up next and what they look like before they've been painted. So on the left you've got the beginnings of a platoon of Fallschirm Pioneer, and on the right some just regular Fallschirmjäger squads, and they're supporting heavy weapons, and platoon HQs are just not on this particular board at the moment. They're over on the other part of my desk, but they'll hopefully be the next thing I do, and I have to work out how to do a 6mm impression of their camouflage patterns for their jackets. And then the last thing I thought I'd show is this squad here at the front. This is a squad of Russian SMG troops. It's just to show you what the finished product should look like once they've been fully painted and based. And as you can see, it's actually a lot easier to see the colour scheme and sort of details that I've painted once they've got that basing underneath, because it just, I don't know, helps bring the colour out, I think, and helps move your eye on the light a little bit, as opposed to those ones. And that is the entire update. I'm quite pleased to have got through these quite quickly in little bits of spare time. Go back to the little SS guys there at the end. Yeah, doing oak leaf camo, this is as small of the dots as I'm ever going to do, and even that's probably too much, but I can see them when I zoom in at least. And it's something maybe to just do before my eyes really give up the ghost. So the next thing, yeah, is the Fallschirmjäger and the Fallschirm Pioneer at the back. I might also do a little separate video of the Timecast buildings that I completed painting a couple of weeks ago and have based up as well, because they're particularly nice and they make a good spread of terrain now for my Eastern Front board. That's the whole video for now. Maybe another one in a week's time or so. And in the meantime, I hope you enjoy your hobbying.